Whoa, and hey guys, hey, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be covering Last Epoch. I've had the opportunity to play in this game, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's actually one of my favorites for one reason, and that's because this is one of the first beta-based hack and slash ARPGs that I've gotten to play ever. So most of them normally come out fully released and done, and you'll see updates and things come out as it goes. But this one is in current development, and one of the most exciting parts about this is they're not just letting it be what it is. A lot of the feedback that they get from the community is going into making this game a much better game. Matter of fact, they released an update on December 10th of 2021, and within 3 days had already planned and placed bug fixes to make sure this game was operating the way it should. If that doesn't say, hey, we're on it and we want this game to be great, I don't know what does. But enough about that, guys. Let's actually talk about some of the details of the game. Oh, by the way, I am also a big fan of taking feedback and getting the engagement from you guys. So if you like this type of content and you want to see more, make sure you slap the like or subscribe or comment what you would like to see reviewed as far as ARPGs or MMOs go. I'd love to do one specifically for the community. Anyway, let's just get into it, okay? So one of my favorite parts to any video game is the skills, the passives, and what your character can do. So what I think is really cool about this game is the way they lay out the skill tree. A lot of the passives that you get actually will unlock skills as you level your character up. So as you can see, you've got rebuke, okay, you can read. Anyway, so what's cool about this is all of these impact how your character plays and how he operates, whether he's going to be a dual wielder or an axe thrower or whatever the case may be. You get to fiddle around with that. Another piece of the puzzle that really stood out to me was your skill specialization. So not only are you able to equip these skills, you're able to choose whether or not you want to specialize in these skills. And specialization is really cool because it gives you the ability to augment how that skill operates. Let's take Smite for instance. I'm able to choose whether or not I want it to deal fire damage, I want it to heal, or I even have the ability to make it where it lands an AoE and it deals dot damage for enemies that are over top of it. I think it's really cool that you get to augment your skills based on your playstyle or what you're looking for, and the skill tree for each ability is quite extensive. The last skill point can be a very hefty one, as in Rive is one of my favorite skills to use, and it has a culling ability that when an enemy's health is at a certain percentage, it has a chance to completely obliterate the enemy. Stack that with some attack speed and you'll see even bosses get wrecked when their health is around 20% left. And it's really helped me survive some crazy instances in this game. And the fact that you guys will all love this, you have the ability to respec or respecialize any skill at any time. So you can go back and alter or augment exactly how that skill operates, or maybe you put a point in something that you really didn't want to put a point in and you need to go back and fix it. You have the ability to do this, and it really doesn't cost you anything to do that. You can choose to augment and change by respecing at any time, which is pretty cool in my opinion, because you never know what new legendary, unique, or cool item drops that you want to adjust your build to fit. Now let's talk about combat. Combat in this game is QWER, right click and the left click. So those are really all you're going to be using for your combat in most cases. Now I thought it was really cool. Combat does work very well with a controller, so if you wanted to hook a controller up and enjoy this game, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Now boss battles in this game are pretty fun because you go from mopping the floor with the little mobs and baddies to actually having to change your playstyle up to be a little bit smarter to survive. I almost got wiped a few times while playing this guy, but let me show you guys what Rive did for me. So yeah, you remember me telling you about that ability that has a chance to completely wipe an enemy out and cull them if their health is at a certain level? I feel like it's a little broken and it's an ability that needs to be fixed at some point, but I can't deny it. Rive really knocks the crap out of bosses because that chance to completely wipe their health bar comes in handy. Here in just a sec you'll see it hits and it just obliterates the enemy. Sometimes they die so fast that I didn't even realize that I had beat them. Like it just immediately happened and I'm like, oh, I finished the boss off. I think it's something that'll get patched, but it's still pretty cool. Another really fun and exciting thing is every now and again you'll run up towards a little time rift that will take you to a whole different era in the area that you're in. So you might have been in this dusky, ugly, scary looking area to begin with, but you'll hit that time rift and it'll take you to a completely different era in time. And as you can see, I'm fighting dinosaurs all of a sudden. what makes these really cool and what makes this a really good level into the game is the fact that these areas sometimes will have a boss spawn. And the boss may be a little difficult, right? He's got some grit to him most of the time in here. But I haven't had any bad luck. Now, one of my favorite things about this is typically when you fight a named boss, you have a higher chance to get great loot from that boss, i.e. unique items, legendary items, or just better equipped pieces of gear to help you on your journey into beating this game and coming to the end for the end game of it all. I didn't get super lucky on this one and get anything like great. However, I really think this game is going in the right direction as far as how it looks and how it feels and how it plays at the end of it all. Now, this part, crafting. I'm going to be honest with you guys, this was probably the most confusing part of the game for me, and it didn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. The entire time I was finding all these little crafting items and I was throwing them into my stash because I thought that's where those things go. And I was like, it's really dumb that these items don't stack when I've got 6 of the same one. Well, dummy me. You actually have to transfer all your crafting items to your crafting module. So, surprise, when I clicked that, not only did I get my inventory space back, but I was actually able to start crafting or adjusting the values of my items a little more effectively. I will say that I expected a little bit different of a response when crafting items. So I took one of my pieces of gear and I was trying to craft, and I didn't realize that when you use certain items, it really does randomize. So you can actually change a lot about the item when you go through and you actually try to forge the item into something that's either stronger, but it makes it different. And as you see, you have your forging potential. So based on that, that's kind of how many tries you get, and each try costs so much forging potential. So you could actually ruin an item if you're not careful. This was a little drawback to me. I felt like it wasn't as cut and dry as I thought crafting had been in other games, and it's probably a portion of the game that I recommend you take your time to understand before just going click crazy, or you'll definitely run the chance of ruining a piece of gear that you kind of want or need. Now, something else that was pretty interesting is uniques do not have the ability to be changed, augmented, upgraded, rerolled at all using the forge system. So they are what they are when you get them. You actually have to wait for an in-game dungeon to give you the chance to give something a legendary potential, which I haven't got to that point, so I don't have any real video on that part. However, if you go to their actual page and you look at their big patch update, they'll go into detail in that for sure. Let's really talk about the value of in-game in this one. So once you hit a point in the story, you're actually able to choose kind of your path, right? So you can choose to be a different type of sentinel. And there's 3 classes to choose from within all classes. Now, because I was a sentinel, I had a few different options. I had a paladin, a void knight, and a forge master. And each one kind of got different benefits. You know, Void Knight was really good about DPS and melee damage and void damage. The Forge Master was really good at dealing, you know, fire-based damage and fire-based resistances. And the Paladin was built more to heal and still yet get buffs in dealing fire or bleed type damage. Now, take some time at this point, because looking through those skill trees to see the exact value of how that class runs at the end of all of it, I highly recommend, because it may sway you to choose a certain class over another based on how it's all laid out. Because I took some time and I looked, I really wanted to do a bleed build, which honestly, the Paladin had one of the better bleed builds. It just seemed like it made more sense, so I went that route. Now, I was pretty excited at the rate in which uniques dropped within this game. They weren't super duper common to where it didn't feel special whenever I got a unique. However, it was really nice to look at some of the modifiers and look at some of the bonuses that you got with unique items. The unique ring that I got was a really interesting one. The unique two-handed mace wasn't very valuable to me, but still yet, getting a unique always makes you feel like really good in a game. And the fact that the beam is shooting up to the sky to let you know something really special just dropped, in my opinion, is great. It's amazing. Now, one of the most interesting uniques that I've found so far is actually a two-handed mace, and I want to show you guys the cool effect that they put on this thing. Now, I lost a lot of DPS by switching over to this particular two-handed mace, the Torch of the Phoenix, the Pontifex, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, the fact that it had a chance to summon a skeleton for 10 seconds when I cremated an enemy was super duper cool, and to see that weapon in action just brought a lot of excitement and a lot of hype within the game. It made me really excited. Like, I want to see more uniques that have these types of effects where I will destroy some enemies and leave little fire pits, and then because the fire pits kill something, skeletons raise up and they start to fight with me. It's really interesting how they do that, so I want more of that. I think this game is going to be a big one for 2022. I believe you guys will enjoy it a lot if you so choose to play it. But let's get down to the nitty gritty real quick. As you can clearly see, Last Epoch has a lot to offer. As far as the hack and slash ARPG side of it, it feels really good. The biggest part that I felt that was lacking within this game was a sense of story and purpose as to why I was going around crashing and beating my mobs of enemies and defeating bosses. It felt a little bland at times. However, the further I got into the game, the more I started to enjoy what I was getting from it, whether it be from leveling up, choosing my mastery class, trying to forge and ruin pieces of gear, or maybe it was finding these unique legendary items in the game. It started to really come together for me. By the way, I didn't talk about this, but you actually have the ability to find a legendary unique item that allows you to take a magic item and make it unique. So I thought that was really cool too. Most definitely, this is a game to look at purchasing for yourself or playing in 2022 because it brings a lot of different to the table. There's plenty of hack and slash ARPG games that you can go play right now. Not many of which are in such a beta state that the community is able to give feedback, engage with, and see the developers put that much energy and work into trying to make this game fit the majority of its community. I really appreciate that. It's a quick turnaround time. You don't always see that with development teams. But Last Epoch is definitely a lot of fun, and I hope to see you guys playing the game, whether it be multiplayer or single player. Again, if you have questions about anything, drop the comments, let me know. If you'd like to see a review on another type of game, give me a shout in the comments, guys. Thank you for hanging out, and we will see you guys next time.